What's up, guys? I am Kendall Schmidt from Heffron Drive and Big Time Rush, and you are watching Front Row Live Entertainment.
Hey guys, Rob here, Front Row Live Entertainment. We're finally hanging out with this guy. He's been busy all day and through the past, 3 years already?
Yeah, it's been a flash, but, here I am now.
So how are you doing now? Now you're ready to start promoting your project, Heffron Drive.
Yeah, totally. It's been something that I've been wanting to do for a long time, and hence keeping it like my Twitter name. Like, it was sort of purposeful, so people kind of associated.
So nobody ever forgets it.
Well, so they associated my name with the band name. Mm-hmm. And I always kind of described it as like, you think of like 30 Seconds to Mars, right? Like Jared Leto, Jared Leto's the lead guy of 30 Seconds to Mars, but there's an entity. And I like the idea of being able to promote something that's bigger than just one person, So it feels more like I'm promoting a brand rather than just like putting out Kendall Schmidt music. That seems kind of like, it seems kind of cheesy. Yeah. I want to do something that's like, I've always wanted to be in a band too. Mm-hmm. So,
So now that it seems like you're finally gonna have the opportunity to start working on this more than you have in the past 3 years. So what has been the progress so far, if any, with music? Is there any music that you've already had lined up?
Well, there's been, obviously every song I write is potential for anything. Like when I was writing songs for Big Time Rush, even if I didn't think it was going to get used for Big Time Rush, it would have ended up being used for somebody. I mean, there's so many Japanese and Korean boy bands and stuff that love Western music, and a lot of times they'll take the song and just rewrite it with Japanese lyrics. So, there's all that kind of business, and I love that. But every once in a while, a song will pop up, and I'll be like, this is perfect for Heffron Drive. Mm-hmm. Just the overall feel of it, how alternative it feels. Like, obviously there's pop ties in the whole thing because that's just what I grew up listening to. But the alternative part is really what made Heffron Drive cool. And the original stuff was just so different. I guess I just really didn't think about it at the time. I was kind of just making it. But now I want to go into it with no expectations again and just kind of make whatever sounds cool.
And then you're saying, there might be opportunities for Japanese artists, whatnot. Do you have any credits that nobody else really knows about yet?
There's a couple songs I've written that are in the process of getting, like, they're on the artist's repertoire of songs, but they're just going through different singles first. But I do have one I just did with this band called with this band called Titanium. The song's called Unarmed. The band Titanium is a Australian New Zealand boy band. They're really popular, over there, and they're from various places. I think one guy's from Tasmania as well. But anyway, there's like 6 guys in the band, and I wrote this song with Logan for Big Time Rush, and it just, because of it being a lot older sounding, it really wasn't like, it didn't fit. And because they're older guys, they ended up hearing the song and they're going to do it. And I hope it becomes a popular one for them. That would be the most ideal situation, but that's one. I wrote another song for an Australian girl named Ellen Levon, and there's a couple Japanese tracks in the works, or like that I wrote here, but they're going to get, so.
And then as far as studio work and stuff like that, how are you finding time to do it in between Big Time Rush? How does that?
I know, right?
It seems like you're always doing something. Like,
and sometimes it feels like that. Sometimes I feel tired, but ultimately, like, I'm not really that stressed out about it, because it's like, well, tomorrow I just have to do some more fun stuff. But how do I find the time? Technically, this is free time, but like, I'm using it to benefit myself. I mean, like anybody would. So this is the free time. Tomorrow would be free time.
You're still working.
And yet I'm still doing stuff. But you know what? It's all fun. It's all part of it. And I want people to hear it. So in order for people to hear it, you have to talk about it.
Of course. And you had a couple shows in Germany, I believe, right? Mm-hmm. Any plans for here in the States? How soon can the kids here in the States see something?
I would love to. Before I go and do a full-blown tour, I'd like to put out some new music, and I would hope that everybody would want that before even seeing a show. Like, if I was a fan of coming from being a fan of music and a lot of artists I love, like, I really love when they put out new stuff. So obviously, like, I want to put new stuff out, and I'm working on it, but I'm also in Big Time Rush, so it's a tricky situation. But when I figure out when to put it out, that's when I'd love to do a tour, just a small one. I don't, I want to start out in a place and pack it in tight and have an intimate setting with the fans that really love it.
Well, technically, you've only had one show in the States, right? This was like at a coffee shop, something.
Actually, the first we weren't playing the Heffron Drive songs, but Dustin and I did play songs together right when I booked Big Time Rush. And I remember even making a big deal about asking about it. Like, is it okay if I go perform these acoustic songs at this pizza place? Like, for friends and family. It's not like anybody was there. Because of, knowing that there was like contractual things, like I asked, and then now I look back and go, I should have never asked about like they didn't care either. It's like a pizza shop. They didn't care. So that was the actual only, but nobody's seen that,
Now, back when you were putting out stuff and MySpace was still something, you did a lot of covers of Taking Back Sunday, like a couple covers that I remember seeing. And I've seen you quote that, you've actually, Taking Back Sunday was one of your favorite bands.
Still is,
and whatnot. So what about Taking Back Sunday is it that you really like about them?
The melodies of their songs I really love. I love the back and forth vocals between the two singers is really cool. Sometimes a band just grabs you, it's like that's the one you love. Some people love other stuff. Like some people's favorite singer is CeeLo Green. Like I love CeeLo Green too, but Taking Back Sunday is my band. Yeah. You know what I mean? So everybody connects with something, and I connected with that. And that's also, I learned New American Classic was the first song I ever learned on guitar. So that song made me want to learn how to play because of how beautiful it was. So they've always just been a huge influence. Incubus is also one of those influences as well that like I adore. Like I would get butterflies, and I've met him. I met both Adam from Taking Back Sunday and I met Brandon Boyd. And I met all the guys in the band and stuff. And like, I definitely was nervous as hell. Yeah.
Now, how do you feel about their music nowadays? Do you think it's still carrying you with everything that they're doing?
For sure. I love all kinds of new music. I love electronic music especially a lot. And I love the art of people trying to make electronic music also friendly to people who don't just love four on the floor dance music. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like Avicii in that new song, Wake Me Up. Yeah. Like that's a good crossover between people who like folky kind of music and also people who like EDM. So I love that kind of whole finding that thing. But those bands are the ones that no matter what, I can always listen to it and be like, I love this stuff.
I mean, that would be awesome if one day you're doing something with those guys.
Just being able to like, I actually went to the last time Taking Back Sunday played in LA. At least as far as I'm concerned, the last time they played, I don't know. I went in. Dustin from Heffron Drive got a hookup with their manager somehow, and I ended up like having a beer with Adam, talking to him about. Nice. I was just trying to make small talk about whatever, but I was so nervous that I didn't know what to say. But just being able to stand there and talk with him, I think I talked about our South American tour because I know you can relate. At least I could relate on the touring aspect. But it's just those are kind of those moments where you're like, oh my God, this is happening right now. Like I'm talking to the person that I just absolutely idolize, as a musician, and he's totally cool.
And it's cool. What I like the most is that you just mentioned right now, like that's the reason why you started, doing your music. And the type of music right now, it's more mainstream. It's more people are listening to it, Yeah. So it's like people would be surprised to hear, oh, he likes Taking Back Sunday. Like Incubus, everybody would understand that. But Taking Back Sunday is one of those things that it's like you have to grow up in this like do-it-yourself attitude. Yeah.
And also a lot of those guys are, and I think the reason I like EDM a lot is that a lot of those guys, I mean, the main one, Skrillex, came from bands like Taking Back Sunday. Like was it A Day to Remember?
No, it was From First to Last.
From First to Last. He came, all those guys were making that music on their laptops. Flash forward to Skrillex making that stuff, Sonny making that stuff on his laptop. And that's where he learned it, was doing his music. And I love that stuff. And ironically now, a lot of the best songwriters in the business are lead singers of those bands.
And that's what I'm noticing. I just heard the other day someone's drum tech got picked up from Warped Tour.
Yeah.
So I'm just like, whoa, that's amazing. Like to know that
it's
there's
really
these
cool.
opportunities.
And like for instance, and now I'm talking about meeting up with some songwriters and doing. Obviously, I have the people that I've been favorites with in Heffron Drive songs or Big Time Rush songs, but I've been seeing like I wrote a song with Matt Thiessen from Reliant K.
Reliant K, yeah.
Like, how cool is that? Like, I didn't know that the guy from Reliant K was also an amazing songwriter for other people's music.
Yeah.
Like, I guess you just don't think about that stuff because you just love the band, and I just love the band for what it is. But writing with him, and I'm like, I heard him sing, and I'm like, man, that guy should be in a band. And then I was like, oh my god, he is the band. Like,
that guy.
I can't believe I was like so far off. But like I said, I love all kinds of music, but like that stuff is really what gets me excited, and like those songwriters are really cool too.
Well, we definitely need to reach out to Adam Lazzara. So
Yeah.
I would love to see something like
I'd love
that.
to see if he would even care to like make a comment about how much I think his band is awesome.
We'll find out after this.
Yeah.
So as back to your music, is there anything that you have right now that if you were to be able to release something, you could?
Yeah, I do have a song. I mean, there's a few songs, but one that specifically was a Heffron Drive written song. Dustin was in the session with me. Yes, there's a song.
And how soon can we hear more stuff?
I honestly hope as soon as possible. I think we're going to find out a lot in the next couple months, just because I'm finding out my next upcoming schedule. But as soon as I am capable of releasing it, it'll be there. And who knows, maybe the first song will be for free. Like, people have been waiting a long time. Like, as I'm not doing it.
I'll bring it back to MySpace.
Yeah, bring it back to MySpace, which is what I thought, I was like, at the time, I was like, let's get signed on MySpace, because our buddies from Metro Station had done the same thing. And so that's all I ever thought about. And then my life took a whole different curve, and an amazing curve. And now I'm back here talking about it again.
Well, now, do you think when you go full throttle with this project, do you think it'll be starting from scratch all over again? Or do you think like now, because of, everything that you've experienced, the connections you've made, you think you're going to be out there more? Starting
from scratch musically, I guess, but not, because I'm also writing with people who I think could potentially give me I know could give me a great song and help working together write an amazing song. So I feel like I have a way better chance just because of I know I can work with some amazing people, and I'm very lucky to do that. And as far as the other aspect, it has to be good, and hopefully people like it. But if they don't like it, then it's fine. They don't have to.
Yeah.
But I hope that they do, and that's why you make music, so that other people enjoy it.
Now, and jumping forward to Big Time Rush, 4th season, and supposedly this might be the final season.
Yeah, I think as far as the episodic version of Big Time Rush, I think that's probably the end of it. But and it's been a great run. I mean, we did 74 episodes like that. I mean, if I had to look back at the amount of hours we spent doing that, in 4 years, I probably spent like actual days there over a year in the soundstage filming it. So if you think of like in 4 years spending 365 days straight in that thing, like we did a lot, and I think we did a great job, and the band now can only go up from here because there's nothing holding it back.
That and just the exposure that you guys received. I mean, you just mentioned recently you did Mexico, and combined was like what, 30,000 people? Like,
people. It was insane, and like that's what it all worked together, and it was a great thing. And I think Big Time Rush will never go away, because now it's forever in TV land. It's it's always going to be there, and the music's always going to be there. There's been 3 albums. I would love to do a 4th, and I'd love to tour more. So hopefully that all happens. I mean, if it all works out, I think that's what we're going to do. So.
Now, would you say this is different because it's coming from a kids network rather than being a band like One Direction, for example? As you're growing older, or your fans are growing older, do you think it's harder to keep that fan base or even get a newer fan base?
Well, I think one thing that's interesting is that growing up with Big Time Rush, there was constraints. There was like, this is like the general thought, because we're on a television show, we have to be careful about how old we look, what we're doing, all that stuff. We always wanted to be great role models regardless, so we never got in trouble just because we're not troublemakers. We're just kind of like
only behind the scenes.
I mean, honestly, and we have our fair share of fun, but we're definitely not like crazy. We just like to have a good time. So the 1D guys is, besides having incredible music, I mean, the music's really good, like as far as the catchiness, and it's really well written. Julian Bonetta does their stuff. I just went to premiere, and I was like hanging out with Julian, and that was cool. Like, I would love to team up with him eventually and write some stuff. But they also were never held back, as in they never had to act a certain way. They could just be a band, and then so we would spend 6 months being goofy and crazy on a television show, and then we would spend 6 months trying to be really cool on stage. So it was like it was hard. You know, it was hard distinguishing the two. And then, you know, there being 9-year-old in the audience who kind of want to see us be goofy and crazy.
Yeah.
So it was like it was a really difficult balance. And I think as successful as Big Time Rush is, that's one thing that, like, you know, kind of made it sort of stuck. But now that there's no television show like it was, I think there's nothing holding it back from just being love for the music and
You
for
guys
the
can now be who you are, and
now we can perform. There's no expectations. It's not like, oh, don't they have a TV show? It's like those guys are just great performers. Like, I want to support them because I like the band.
now any plans on maybe another movie like you guys did previously?
That'd be cool. Honestly, like, I'm chilling. It's nothing but fun, and I'm 22, so like I'm feeling like I got plenty of time to do all kinds of stuff. And the movie would be great. I had a great time filming in Canada last time, in Vancouver, and it was sort of like living somewhere else for 6 weeks. So it's fun. It's all fun for me.
Yeah.
So I hope so, and really just depends on the powers that be.
And now also you guys have a show that's coming up, and Heffron's also going to be on there.
Yeah.
Tell me a little bit about that.
First thing I've ever done that involves being part of 2 projects. So yeah, we're doing the Big Time Rush performance. I'm not sure how many songs. I think it might be 3 or 4 or 5 or 6. I'm not really sure. And then part of the same show, I'm performing as Heffron Drive, like 1 song. And just doing that in general, like, believe me, it's already hard enough on the voice to sing, you know, Big Time Rush songs. But so I'm excited to be able to do both, and I hope that people watch it. You know, I know they're going to watch Big Time Rush, but I hope that they watch Heffron Drive.
Are you scared at all for this project? Like, are you nervous?
I'm apprehensive, but I feel like I've done a lot of groundwork, and just I feel like I've been cool enough with people that hopefully that they'll want to see me succeed. Because in order to succeed, you have to have people who want it to happen too.
Yeah.
You know, so people who will help you get there, they have to want to help you. So hopefully I've kind of kept those relationships, and with the fans too. And the only reason that I'm capable of doing it is because of them. So hopefully they'll continue supporting it enough to make it. Like I said, I want to play the venues that I just got done playing again. Like, I don't want that to be the last time.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
that's what I'm shooting for.
Of course. Now, is there anything that you want to, you know, definitely tell all your fans and all these new fans about this project?
I think everybody should check it out. Like, you shouldn't have any predisposed ideas about it. I mean, it's just music's music. So, which, by the way, there's been some really interesting music coming out lately, which I think is really cool.
Yeah.
There's some left and right, like, it's whatever. So
You can't get bored nowadays with music. Like,
there's going to be some new music coming from my project. Hopefully you guys will like it.
as soon as you have a show, let us know. We'd love to be there.
I'd love you guys to be there. I'd love to play one.
There you go. Well, thanks for hanging out with me. Kendall, guys, be sure to check them out. Heffron Drive on Twitter and Heffron Drive Music on Facebook.
Yeah, Heffron Drive Music. And then my Instagram is KenDizzle4Zs.
Robert with Front Row Live signing out. We'll see you guys soon. Be sure to subscribe.